What's up, everybody? I'm trying to clean up the audio with every episode that we do or every time we jump on. There go Ant, my boy. What's up?
Hello.
You did a good job, man.
Thank you.
Right
Thank
before
you.
our show started, I made her go make me something to drink.
Oh God, I like how you put like he made me. No wonder these people are like, oh my God.
Hey, you did it though.
It's true. It's true. I really can't say anything about that.
So, how's the week been going? Everybody, feel free to chime in if you're on live with us. Chime in. We like to chat. This is kind of our date night. Yeah, buddy. This is our date night, so I'm glad that you guys are hanging out with us. Maybe we'll start bringing in some wine.
Oh.
Drink a glass of wine and talk some mess.
I know. I always feel real fancy when I have wine. Like I see in the movies, everybody has like they've got their little glass while they're cutting up vegetables. And I'm not gonna lie, I've tried it, but it doesn't look
exactly
as
right.
It doesn't look as awesome as it does in movies.
Like every time I get some wine, I'm like, oh yes, it's exquisite. It's exquisite. I'm like, I'd rather have some Mad Dog 2020 or something. Orange Jubilee.
Don't forget to swirl. Yeah.
Terrible. It's terrible.
The essence, the wine essence.
It's terrible. Essence of terrible. So what's been going on? How's everything out there in the world? Let me know what's going on. Julia, how was your week?
It was busy. It was busy.
I didn't accomplish shit this week.
Yeah.
At least not what I wanted to accomplish.
Well, I was too busy accomplishing it for all of us.
Is that a dig? Already? We're not even been on 4 whole minutes. You're already shooting it at me, huh? Like
No. No, I was more directed at the fact that I'm just being awesome. It was definitely nothing against you at all in reference to you. It was just me acknowledging my essence.
People think I'm the cocky.
I mean, that is true, but it's just because...
just too busy just being amazing at me. There's only one Julia Marie, and here I am. So I'm just blessing the world with my essence on live. And I'll tell them about what I've done the last 7 days.
No, in truth, the only thing that I've done, I feel like this week is paperwork. I just want to put this out there. Anybody that works for CCSD as a teacher, or teachers anywhere, any school district, the amount of paperwork and the paper trail that is needed, I feel is crazy.
All you do is babysit kids, though.
And he does that intentionally, and I will not choose violence right now.
He's just watching kids, teaching them 1s and 2s and ABCs, calling them friends. Hey, friends. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Repeat after me, Julia Marie.
That was good. I'm not gonna lie. That was really good. That was a really good impression. I will give it to you.
I'm telling you, that's how it be. That's how you do. So, and then now all you have to do is write a couple things down on a piece of paper. These teachers, boy, I tell you.
Man.
So privileged.
This guy.
Am I getting close? You getting killed?
Violence. He's choosing violence. Oh, I would like to recant a statement that I made.
Oh, when did you make a statement? And are you apologizing on live TV in front of 2 viewers right now?
No. What I am doing, though, I'm not apologizing. I'm just saying that I was wrong.
Okay. Go on. So, I'm intrigued.
I was wrong because I made the statement that I would be fine without you. Like, would I be okay without you? And, upon further diving into this question, it wasn't until a few days later when I was here all by myself and I was trying to figure out how to turn on my own TV. And I was really trying not to call. I really didn't want to call. And I didn't have to, thank God, because Gerald came in, and actually, little Gerald, your namesake that I fought over, he saved me. But I realized how actually not even just zero, but like how like nothingness. What's below zero? Like negative. I know about any of the devices we have in our house. I don't know what's connected to what. I don't know how we have cable. I don't know how, why. I don't know why I have Hulu. I don't know what it is that he purchased that gives me Hulu. Or do I even have Hulu? I know I have Disney Plus for sure. I know I have Netflix for sure. And I just thought, oh man, I would hate to not be with you and then call you at like 11 o'clock at night because you'd be the only person. And I
Yep.
realized
It's the old steal all the spoons trick.
that's so grandpa. Oh my god. You're such an old man. You're gonna be the perfect old man. I can't wait.
That's all it is. Steal all the spoons. I'm just going to know everything possible about the most insignificant stuff, and you won't even realize that I'm the only one that knows until you absolutely do.
Until I realize I don't know.
Mm-hmm. We turn on the fan after you take a poop, and it doesn't do anything. It just flips. You're like, how do you actually change that?
The garbage disposal. I'm like,
when it just goes like that.
Yeah, that's exactly the sound.
Me, when the backyard faucet and it's just dripping water all out into the yard.
Yep, I have no idea.
Gotta call a plumber because I've been really legit trying to figure that out. I have not been able to.
Anybody that knows a plumber out here,
everything. The backyard spigot is leaking at my house. Please come help me.
Okay. So I would officially like to go on record and recant and say that if Gerald and I were not together, that for the record, yes, I would try to get at you. And second, I would make a bunch of unnecessary phone calls regarding electronics and things and cable and late night trips,
Absolutely. So I'm glad that we established how much you need me and how handsome I am. Thanks, babe.
No problem.
But we wanted to actually jump on tonight and talk about parenting. It's a huge deal. It's I mean, I'm sure it's a huge deal for everybody as much as it's overtaken our lives the last 20 years in some form or fashion.
Yeah, for sure.
20 for her, 18 for me, for sure. And we definitely are looking for some participation. If our audio kind of goes out, just let us know in the chat as well. But like throw out as we talk, throw out some questions about about parenting, and let's kind of like open forum this thing and chit chat it up because there's no right way to do it. There's no definite, and it's not even a definite between one kid to the next.
Right.
Like I'll tell my own story first so that maybe you guys can open up. But Julia and I have a blended family. I have a daughter from a previous relationship, and Julia has a son from a previous relationship, a marriage. And we have two together. Yeah. So when we first got together, it was super convenient because I got a kid, she got a kid. We can kind of be parents together, and then she got pregnant, and that just kind of solidified our family.
Right.
But we went in, especially in the beginning, we went in like really trying to make sure we created this family unit.
Right. We came in really strong. Yeah. I'd say.
Really, really strong. And we're just trying to make this family unit. Everyone is treated equally, and we stay together. We're just one family, and it worked because we had two kids that had to leave every now and again. So my daughter, it was clockwork. Her and her mother and I, we split our schedules almost in half. I had her 3 days, and she had her 4 days, and we did that virtually her entire life.
Right.
Our oldest son, it wasn't as much. It was less frequent for sure.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as much of him having to adjust to both households as much as it was for us.
Right.
So we built a family.
Right.
A family for us. So we built out how we have to do drop offs and interacting and everything. We built that from, but we also wanted to make sure that those two were close and didn't feel like we weren't the other person's parent and the other kid wasn't their brother and sister. And we accomplished that jump like to the utmost degree. They're actually both in Reno right now studying together. They live in the same building, not the same dorm room, but the same building. And they are like this. They're like the opposites of each other, which is why they're probably like this. And they have a shared experience.
Right.
The reason why I tell that story is our youngest two didn't really take to the same style of parenting as the oldest two. The younger two needed a little bit more flexibility, and I struggled with that. I struggled with providing the flexibility that my youngest two kids needed to expand or expound or whatever it was, because I never took into consideration that my overbearingness, right?
Right. With the
My
other two.
yeah, my overbearingness with the other two was oftentimes kind of stomped out a little bit or mellowed out because they had to go to the other parent's house, if you understand what I'm saying. These other two kids, they get a full dose of me, and I can be a little bit overwhelming. Yeah, and I know Julia can probably speak to that for sure, but I can be damn sure overwhelming.
Yeah, I think the thing, just going back to like what you're talking about at the beginning, Gerald and I, we've never like made it like a secret or anything, but Gerald and I weren't dating very long when we found out that I was pregnant. It 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 is what it is.
She was giving up them skins because I got game. I've said this in every single show. Your boy got game.
I should have
Yeah,
not
talk
made,
you off them
oh
draws.
my god. I knew I shouldn't have made that drive up there. I was driving to his house that night and I was like, Julia, don't do it. And I did it anyways. I went up there. But I digress.
Mm-hmm.
No, but from the very beginning, so we found
God
out.
saved you anyway.
Oh my god, this age old story. You'll hear this 1,000 times. But we found out I was pregnant pretty quickly after our relationship kind of intro started, and it kind of was set from the very beginning. We had already been in previous relationships. Truth be told, when I was pregnant and when we first got together, I was still on the back end of a divorce. I wasn't even fully divorced yet, which is why I was like really trying to fight it in the beginning. I was like, oh no, I don't want to like him. I got stuff going on. I can't like him. But it just, I'm not gonna lie,
You just proved this whole I got game.
I mean, it is what it is. We've always had a really great and not so
I'm not
great.
gonna be able to get out the house by
chemistry.
myself. Everybody gonna be like, "Oh, watch out for Gerald. You know how much game he got."
Okay, I don't think that the viewers, the two of them, think that. But
I just say it could be.
I mean, they might, like that TikTok where the husband walks out, like what my wife thinks happens, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, give me." They're like throwing stuff and the applaud. Well, good luck to everyone. Uh,
He be digging.
no, that wasn't a bad thing. Good luck to everybody because you have game.
Oh, okay, for sure.
Silly, you are handsome. Um, high five. But no,
My favorite.
yeah, we were really a quick family, and we really wanted to keep the kids in a space where it's like they didn't feel like one wasn't. You know what I mean? Like they both. We wanted them to feel there wasn't a step thing. We didn't do like a step parent in our house. We were like really anti in the very beginning. The problem that we found as time went on is, when it comes to parenting and not just co-parenting, but like parenting in general within our household, we didn't understand the things that we brought into the relationship that made parenting difficult. So we did succeed in, or at least we tried our best. I feel like we succeeded, but there's four other opinions on the opposite end of this statement. Clearly, our kids.
Yeah, true.
But we've really, really tried hard to make all of them feel like this wasn't a step thing. We understand the facts. We get it. Our oldest understands that he is biologically just mine. Our oldest daughter understands that she is biologically just Gerald's. But we have never differentiated between the kids, and oftentimes growing up through life, the people, close friends, didn't never even realize that all four of them weren't ours together.
And we didn't come out saying like, "Oh yeah, just so you know,
By the
these
way,
two are, or this one is
like this is my step, or this is.
I hear that a lot. I personally find it kind of weird and alienating to the other kid, but to each their own. We just didn't do that.
Right,
We chose
right.
to not do that. We for the longest, our oldest two called us by our first names.
Yeah, Dominic called you Gerald.
Yeah, for the longest.
Gerald.
And for some reason, I didn't really I didn't like it, but I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna have this
Yeah.
kid call me Mr. Gerald when I'm supposed to kind of be his daddy, but
Yeah.
also didn't want him didn't want him to call me daddy because I'm not his dad. And I always wanted to reserve the space for his dad to be his dad. So I never wanted to take that time.
Away from, like, we
I never wanted to take it from him, so I never wanted to have him call me that. So I was at church one day in a men's meeting, and the pastor told me that I needed to figure something out, to have him either call me dad or call me by my Mr. Gerald or something like that. And I just wasn't having it. I ended up coming up with a solution, and he calls me Daddy Gerald. He still calls me Daddy Gerald to this day, and our daughter calls her Mama Julia to this day.
Right, and it sounds odd listening to it from the outside, but when you hear them say it, it doesn't sound.
It rolls right off the tongue. It was such a huge deal for me.
Yeah.
That I then told those two kids to tell their step parents at the time to then call them by their daddy and then first name as well. I don't want to put their business their business out there or anything like that. But they call them daddy and then first name as well. The mom on that end didn't really want that.
No,
so
she wasn't really feeling that.
She ixnayed that, so he didn't call her that. But we implemented that immediately. And the craziest thing was when I told my oldest son not to call me by my first name and to call me Daddy Gerald, he like sighed relief. And he was like, I didn't like that I was the only person calling you by your first name.
Right.
He's like, so this makes me feel included. That was my oldest son. Now, my daughter could give a shit.
She was younger. It was
whatever. She'd give a shit. She like, whatever.
Okay.
You tell me to do this. This is just what I'm doing. I think over some time,
it's different now.
Like, yeah, it's different now, but I think there was some issue with it over time, and I didn't get into that as it comes from her mom. I definitely don't want to get into it right here.
Nope.
So, but as it stands as right now, that's what that's what our daughter chooses to call her on her own accord. We leave it at that.
Right.
So parenting has been a huge, huge deal, but where we missed it was we spent so much time being super parents to the other two, trying to build this perfect union and build this like relationship and make sure that they both felt accepted, that we forgot we had two that only got influence from us. And we've had a separate set of things, nothing drastic, but definitely different than the other two that we've had to deal with these younger two. And we're here asking you, do you guys, if you're out there and you have and this is for now and for later as we review these, but do you guys have any issues with your children as it pertains to them only? Like, I know a few of my friends, they have kids and it's just them and their wife and they don't have no outside anything. I definitely like to hear your perspective. If you are a step parent, I definitely like to hear your perspective as well, and how you view step parenting. But and please send those questions in. I know it's only two of you, so I need y'all participation. But I'm going to ask Julia some questions about it too. So,
okay.
How was it for you adjusting or trying to be our daughter's mom in the capacity that you were put
in? When we first got together, being like the other parent for her really wasn't difficult for me. I'm extremely nurturing anyway, so I didn't have an issue with that. I think it became difficult as we got older. And it wasn't difficult because I didn't want to or I struggled, but it was difficult because when you're coming into a blended family, there's definitely a lot of protection going on. There's definitely, like, I didn't struggle with her because I didn't love her, I didn't care about her. But There was a brief period when Gerald and I were younger. I mean, it's been years now, but when we were first together in the very beginning, there was a separation period between he and I. And then coming back in, I think that was really difficult for me parenting her because it was very evident that I was not like the relationship that we'd established, which was really, really little changed in that time period. So coming back in, it was different. And you're trying to be there for that person, but then because her mother was because she was coming back and forth on a weekly basis and not just like how our oldest one, where it was very sporadic, I didn't know always where, like, was I overstepping? There was a lot of years where it caused issues between you and I, where it's like, my mother always does stuff for the kids. And there'd be times where she was getting stuff and she wouldn't get her stuff, not because she didn't like want to, but because I am my mother's daughter type thing. There is an aspect where it's like, oh, they're probably going to do that. Like, we don't want to take school shopping. We don't want to take these things away from them, not realizing that that's not it. Like, we're not taking anything away. So I think I never had an issue because I didn't love her. I think it was hard because I just didn't know like what I was supposed to do because it was made very aware on the opposite end. It was different. Like, I ain't her mama type thing. And it's like, you just don't know. No one's trying to be out in front of somebody's house at any kind of crazy hours. So it's like I just didn't always know where to step. The back and forth dance was a little hard for me. How was it for how was it for you on the opposite end of that?
Uh, well, I'm kind of controlling,
Yes.
to say the least.
Yes.
To say the least, I'm kind of controlling. So I did a couple things. How can I explain this?
I'm interested.
Yeah, because it might get a little deep. I did a handful of things. I'm extremely controlling. So whatever I've done has pushed other people away. So because I came on strong to be to my oldest son what my stepdad person in that role at the time didn't do for me, I ended up pushing out his biological dad to a degree. I'm not taking full responsibility because I also believe that can't nobody push me out of anything. But I also didn't make it very easy to be a part other than kind of highlighting some of the flaws. So what I did do as far as stepping up and standing in his life as a man, I also lacked in another space of bridging the gap between what he actually needed, which is his father. And I think his father was trying to be more hands on, but I'm a very difficult person to get by. And I've made it difficult for even her.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I've made it difficult for my daughter's mother. I'm still making it difficult for my daughter's mother, and she don't even live here, right? She's off and away, and I'm still making it difficult on her. I know kind of how, but not really. But I'm pretty sure I am, and I've done that to her as far as parenting in our entire relationship. Is if I want something done a certain way, it's gonna go my way,
Right.
except for one kid, and that's because I have some hidden guilt. I don't know why I'm bearing my soul right now, but I have some hidden guilt. So therefore, I'm just like, you can say whatever you want to, but just with her, everybody else, I double down. Especially with my daughter. I was super protective over her. Like, I was super protective over both of them, actually. I was concerned about protecting my daughter and her not get punished for being like her mom, and also trying to protect my oldest son from his mom allowing him to be like his dad.
Right. I think that's the one thing about parenting, especially in blended households. It's really difficult when,
All of that's true as hell.
yeah, that's very true. And I think it's difficult because it's like you're trying to protect them from, it's like you're trying to protect them from even the things that you maybe dislike even in the other parent. How many people have I talked to where it's like, oh, she acts just like her mom, or
Mhm.
oh, you are just like your dad. Where in the parenting it becomes difficult because you start looking at that child and you see the things. It's almost like we try to punish the other parent out of them. And then especially when you come into our situation. So when I came into a relationship with Gerald, I was extremely protective. I had been coming out of the marriage that I'd been coming out was an abusive marriage, and then just past experiences with abuse, relationship abuse, not like family abuse. I was very guarded. I didn't realize how guarded I was. And so I came in extremely protective. I was very protective over him. And so I'm sure that there's been plenty of other parenting situations where you come in and you're trying to parent. And even though we're trying to create this dynamic of everybody's equal, it was really hard for us because we fought a lot on the outside. I mean, on the outside of the situation, like we fought a lot over space to an extent because there was so much protecting of,
Mhm.
you know, and at that time, Gerald was again we've it's never been a secret we are definitely different personalities. And Gerald, I've always said this to him, I was not prepared for him as a person. I was not prepared. Like we always talk about, like your greatest strength or sometimes the things that I'm most strongly attracted to you about, I definitely didn't know how to handle. He's is very strong. Oh my god. Get sturdy, get
Hey.
sturdy. No, but you were really strong. But you were it did feel overbearing. And even if he wasn't trying intentionally, and I don't think there was ever a point where he was just. I mean, I don't know. Speak. I don't
No,
know.
I wasn't.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't think
obviously
that
I
you
wasn't
were.
trying
Yeah,
to
I
just
don't think you were trying to just
be an
over.
asshole and overrule
Right.
everybody. But I just think my personality is even some of my flaws, like some of the things that you're talking about too, is like some of my biggest strengths unchecked are ridiculous flaws.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Right.
And I
Right.
think that's kind of all of us too, right? Is some of our greatest strengths, if you allow them to be unchecked, then they end up being the biggest flaw that
Right.
you have, right?
Right.
So
Right. Right.
I
Right.
just think that I'm extremely confident in who I am. I'm confident in what I want to do and that I can accomplish it and how it's supposed to be done. So while I am fighting for something specific, I think I have all the answers. So in my mind, I can identify what's going on. I can understand who's involved and what their roles are. I can tell you what needs to happen and the strategy that needs to get done, and then I give it to you for you to do it, and I bounce. Like, ain't that how you're supposed to get done?
It's
I
just
mean, I
like a
did all the hard work.
one stop show.
I did all the hard work. I did all the work. All you have to go do is do it.
Just do it.
So, and that's kind of how we argued. We
Yeah.
argued because I'm like, all you have to do is do it. And she's like, bro, there's way more involved than just me shutting up.
Right. And what ended up right, and kind of what ended up happening with that dynamic is, trust me, we're still working out of this. Please, by no means think like we're
It's
not sitting
called
over
Yes
here.
We Fight, not Yes We Used to Fight.
Oh, that was good. That was a great. Yeah. Dab, dab, dab.
I'm keeping that dab alive. Ain't nobody gonna kill that dab. We keep hashtag keep the dab alive.
Oh, oh,
The dad
yeah.
dab.
Oh my gosh, that's a great shirt. Someone make that shirt.
The
Someone
dad
make
dab.
that shirt up. The dad dab.
For
Hashtag
sure.
dad dab. No, but you know what? What that created is like it created. It's like we're trying so hard to be like a family, which is something that Gerald and I've always really genuinely like wanted. Ant gets it. He gets the dad dab. We've always wanted to have the family. Like that was important, but within that family there was still division. There was still separation because we were trying so hard, but we're still protective. And at that time, there the level of awareness, and I think that's what we talk about a safe space. You can't be aware if you're not safe because you're too busy
True.
protecting. like I
That's a
said,
whole bar.
I'm too busy. Like I'm still uncovering, I'm still unpacking so much. And we talked about this before, my defensiveness. There's a protective aspect of that defensive. I'm protective. I'm extremely protective because I'm a very sensitive person. I'm very empathetic. I'm very empathic, that type of a person. And it didn't mesh well with the trauma of me, and the trauma of Gerald did not always mesh well in our relationship. And parenting was no different. Coming from a physically abusive relationship, I was extremely protective over Dominic. And because Gerald has got such a strong personality, even though he wasn't like abusing, there was an aspect of who he was at the time that was, I feel, slightly not like abusive, but it was overbearing. And it looked the same to me. Like it looked the same to me. Control was control for me. So over the children.
And it doesn't really matter, right? Whether that control is taken by physical force or mental force, right?
Yeah.
Still internally registers the same.
Oh, you know what? That's true.
Right?
I mean, it does.
So
it
it's
really
like,
does.
so you can't hide behind the gaze of like, oh well, I never put my hands on you, therefore it isn't this, right?
Yeah.
It's abuse is abuse, and I think I'm not saying that I abused you or I am abusing you or anything like that, or I'm pretty sure you wouldn't get on the TV thing here and tell people half the story, right? You probably start winking and telling everybody like, yeah, right? So it's safe to say that I'm not doing that. But at the time, I don't even think I understood that my personality was like that.
Yeah.
Right? Like I thought I was being a man. I was
Mm-hmm.
making decisions for my family, doing what I was
He was
supposed
leading.
to. I was working hard, doing everything I needed to do, in my opinion. Right? Who cares if I don't want to hug all the time? Who cares if I don't like holding hands? Who cares if I don't like to be touched? Who cares if I don't even like to talk? I'm doing everything else. Leave me alone. And when you only give that, then it becomes very hard when you show up with a problem of your own. And that's what happened as well. So then I show up and I'm like, you aren't listening to me. You're not taking how I feel into consideration. Never did I say, I know I don't talk a lot and I know I don't share my feelings for you to know them, to even ask. And I've probably even created a scenario where you're afraid to ask because I'll bite your head off. You haven't been addressing my feelings, and I feel like you don't care about me because of that. But I'm a man. Or I don't want to keep saying I'm a man because that's not the case. My personality type doesn't show that the same way Julia showed hers. So her trauma came out, and the external one is protected, right? Mm-hmm. We all know that. That's the first step. You're going to protect it. She likes to say something. She likes to say things like, "I'm extremely emotional." We all are. If you aren't emotional, then there's no need to protect it. That's that's number one. So we know that we are protecting something that is extremely emotional or volatile, right? How we show up then creates something in the other person.
Right. And that definitely showed up in each other and in our parenting, for sure.
So while we feel the same way, arguing about the same things, what it sounds like to me is that every single time I come to you and voice how I feel to you, you cry, you break down, and you don't fix anything. And you cry me out of the conversation completely. Like as soon as you shed a tear, that means I can no longer tell you how I feel because you are now upset and I have to stop talking. And now I still got stuff to say. Oh, I got a lot of shit to say. And you just cut me off with the tears. You just stopped me with the tears. How dare you? That is some witchcraft trickery that you could just cry at the drop of a dime. As soon as I'm like, you did what? You're not even gonna let me finish my sentence.
Man, are we talking about parenting still? I feel like we're unpacking other things.
I already packed it in therapy, so I'm
Oh,
good. You just
yeah.
dropping tears, but on her side, right? It's like, bro, you out the gate shooting shots. Like you didn't come in here and ask me. You just straight up was like, "Why are you doing this? And why are you doing that? Why didn't you think of this? Why didn't you believe this? And I told you this shit three months ago. I said that. I wrote it down on a piece of paper. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Why don't you be paying attention? I be telling you this stuff all the time." And it's overwhelming, and I start crying. And I'm like, bro, why did it take me 15 years to figure that out? Because we live in the same house, have the same conversations, but we view things from a different vantage point. Even right now, as we speak, her experience is of listening right now, and my experience is of talking. Yours is on your phone or whatever you're doing, but we're all having the same conversation, but it looks differently from where you are. So it's taken in differently. And if you ever want to get out of the always fighting category, is that you have to understand both. There is no one side. I see this shit on the interwebs all the time. These dudes that jump up here. It's only two of them out here apparently. It's the one dude who's like, the women need to change. They need to understand that I work hard. That's the shit that I was telling her, right? This is us, right? Y'all need to change. This is what y'all do, right? And that response to that is, you are a terrorist. And you treat me like crap. Like why would I ever lower the gates for you? Terrible, right? And then you have the other dude that's like, you right, we are terrible. We should change everything about us.
Where are these guys?
You don't
Where,
see them dudes on
where are
the
you guys?
interwebs or in the podcast. The woman is the queen, and I'm her servant. And I will bend on knee and wash her feet because if a woman doesn't feel wanted, then that woman will eat in another grass, eat somebody else's grass. And I'm like, that's how I mean, it's like, what are you talking about?
I see the two. I do see the one where it's like women are like they need to like fall in their space, but it's that or it's the partners that I see at the grocery store where the wife is like yelling at her husband over grocery placement, and I just think. Where are these guys at? Because where did you find him?
Bro,
Because he's just sitting there, just slowly taking it.
He's dying inside.
And I'm like, you're not gonna say something to
He's dying inside. You know, please, hey, let me know if y'all understand. Y'all seen this person before. Wow. His name's Harold. You know, Harold Cecil, and his got a little short lady with a little taper fade in the back with the little mini curls. And it's great. And she got glasses, and she's like, "Come on, Harold, grab the yogurts. You know the grandkids is coming over. Come on, Harold, shut up, Harold. Come on, Harold." And he's like, "All right, Bertha. All right, Bertha." And that dude probably has a locked cellar in his house that no one can get to. I'm like, I don't want to live a life like that. I don't want to be the dude where I'm stuck in my garage. I am the dude that's stuck in my garage, though.
But I'm not getting the benefit of being able to yell at you.
Why can't I just have that moment right
there? Oh, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry.
I could have had a moment, and you just took it.
My bad.
It's all right.
No.
I forgive you because I'm forgiving. As a matter of fact, I'm like the best forgiver I ever met.
Oh, this again. He's the most humble.
I'm the most humblest person I ever met in my life.
Every time you say that, I can't.
I'm the most humblest person I ever met.
I feel like we completely
if there was a greatest list of the most humblest, I'd be number one. Top number one, it would be like humble definition. It'd be me like this.
Oh my god! Do you hear this, everyone?
Oh no, it'd be me like this.
This is like the equivalent of birds
like giving out some. He's like, no, brother, man, here, have two. That's how I'm humble.
You Wendell?
Yeah, Mr. Wendell.
Call Gerald Mr. Wendell from now on. Gerald Mr. Wendell.
But yeah, I know we kind of went off on a tangent as far as parenting goes.
I can bring it back though.
Go ahead. You got it.
So basically, to bring it back real fast, all of that created really hard parenting because there was a lot of protective going on and there's a lot of heartache having to deal with. And it's hard to parent when you're trying to protect. It's hard to do that. And then not even and that honestly happens in households where it's the same parents. I think you never stop that. I think sometimes it's like as women and men, a lot of the dynamics they're not the same, of course, but they tend to be similar. Like most moms are tend to be the more nurturing ones. Again, not all, so don't come for me. But most of the moms tend to be more nurturing, and dad is dad. You know what I
You
mean?
just genderize people. I can't believe you.
Oh,
Can't get canceled.
oh my
This
gosh.
is only like four.
No, if we get
no,
if I get canceled, then our ratings will go up, and now maybe next week we'll have 7 people
like
watching.
like Dave Chappelle.
Exactly like Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Exactly, except for minus the crazy stuff. I don't want to do that.
And also, I'm sorry because I was kind of listening. I was mostly watching the fight in the game, but I was kind of listening. So if I don't seem interested, I'm super interested though, in you the most. And thanks for your grace for letting me stare off at this. Go ahead. Go ahead. Keep talking to the people. They're not watching the game.
That's true. No, but it makes for really hard parenting. You know what I mean? Like, I think that when you're coming in to the relationship with parenting, I think it's really important, especially now, there's so much more understanding of these type of things. It's really important to kind of understand about your partner. I really, really wish that it's like, I think that's why we talk about communication is important because it's really important to be able to like express that. I didn't understand what an abusive relationship would do to me as a person. I didn't realize that. I'm not saying that it would have changed the outcome or the trajectory of our relationship, but what I am saying is being able to look at you at that time, it would have probably been more empowering for me to be able to say, "Hey, look, I'm extremely protective over myself and at that time my son because I just came out of an abusive relationship. Like I can't handle it." Now, that doesn't mean that Gerald over here would have been like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you can't handle that.
No,
I'm gonna stop doing everything that I do because of that." I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is we are.
I can 100% tell you that I would not have said that.
Right, I agree. Thank
I
goodness
was soft.
you have. No, you didn't. You called me sensitive.
Yeah.
You did say sensitive, but that's not the point. We've overcome. The point is, we've overcome like understanding what those mean. Yes, but the point of what I'm saying is, um, it's much easier to be able to talk to the person. The communication is more important. It's like I'm coming out of this situation and I'm extremely protective over myself, and I can't handle that. I think it's important for you to know that as a person in your parenting, and then vice versa. You know what I mean? At this point in time, we have to give our partners a chance. If I know the space that they're in, it also gives me a chance to know, can I do that? I'm not saying that if current Gerald and I were as woke as we were then, I'm not sure how that would play out.
Say that.
We were as woke. Hashtag woke.
Please not associate me with woke.
I mean, I did that intentionally because you know what I mean.
Because I hate that word.
You don't want to be woke?
I'm awake. You can never be woke.
Kanye is woke.
Kanye's mama named him Kanye.
Donda?
That's his mom. All right, back to the story.
Okay. Yeah. God, we got to get this together.
Oh, no, Kanye?
I know, Kanye. Donda?
All right, back. We back.
No. But how has some of that stuff affected some of your parenting? You know, what are some of the things that affected? Because parenting is such a big topic because it's literally been one of the most things that we have thought about probably in our relationship. It's for us. I would categorize it 1,000 times higher than money.
Oh yeah.
Like we've argued about. We had to have a conversation about parenting this morning because we're constantly like new things. I was not prepared for having to parent children through social media. I really wasn't prepared to parent through all of these things. When Gerald and I first got together, it's like I was 21 when I got my first cell phone. I went to Verizon and spent like over $200, which at the time was like $3,000 in my.
Is that I got my first cell phone when I came back from Iraq?
Yeah, like full-fledged grown-ups. But now our children have it.
I mean that I got myself before that I had some cell phones
from all that game.
But I'm not here to sensationalize the game that I once had. But I will if you ask.
And that, friends, this will conclude. I want to thank everyone for coming to our podcast on parenting and Gerald's game. Oh, God. But no, it's like parenting. I wasn't prepared to prepare
I
to
think
parent
one of
through
the
that.
biggest things that, like, because we can sit here and say, oh, to have known from before what we know now, right? The problem with all of those things is not necessarily a problem, is that you didn't know anything about yourself.
I didn't.
And I think that's the issue. And that's the one thing. And like, we started this podcast thing for a reason, right? And as we keep doing it, those reasons start to expand, right? At first, it's just, hey, let's get parents like us who have children in all these different circumstances, and let's get together and be able to dialogue so that we can help each other. But also, let's share with our children the things that are around and that they should be mindful of. Because I would have loved to have had someone pull me to the side when I was an angry 18-year-old, 19-year-old, or when I was running these streets trying to stick my little thing into any girl that would let me because I was suffering from sexual abuse from when I was younger. I wish I'd have had somebody pull me to the side and say, brother, you need some therapy. You need to get that up off. You need to deal with that. So, under no circumstances are we sitting here saying this is what you should do. We're not. We're getting together to give permission to what has been done so that you can start working on what can be done and then start preparing our children for what they need to prepare for. Because those kids need therapy too. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on. It's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on between these kids that seem insignificant, but because they're exposed to it so much, it has a huge deal. When Julie and I was having a conversation a while ago, I don't, we didn't grow up with access to our friends 24/7. I saw my friends at school, or if we planned some shit in advance. Like, if you wanted me to go to your birthday, you had to send me a card
Right.
with your parents' information on it so that I can give it to my parents so that they can call you.
From the house phone.
Because we only had one way to call.
In the kitchen. Exactly.
They called you, they arranged the pickups, the drop offs, and they handled everything. Now, today, your 12-year-old kid can set up an entire play date with their friends and let you know after the fact. And it is what is going on today. Our times aren't better, they're just different, because I would have loved to have had access to my parents when I was clear across town and I didn't know how the hell I was going to get home, and I didn't have 35 cents to put into a payphone and call home. So, or be able to pick up my phone and locate my daughter where she is right now. So there are some benefits to where we are. And I think that we have to start to prepare our children for the world that they could possibly live in, and not chastise them for not living in the world that we live in or did live in. We're the backbone of this entire world. We are analog and digital. We know them both. That just gives us the insight to prepare our children and instill hard work into something that we don't know how to actually work. We don't know how to actually work it, and that's why you calling it. That's why you're saying it's not work. But there's hundreds of kids making thousands of dollars sitting in their bedrooms playing freaking video games. You got to get on board, at least it being an understanding. And this dude over here dancing. You want to be on the show and tell everybody what's up?
Yeah.
So we're gonna get out of here. It's just some food for thought. as you guys kind of circulate our little message here, if you want to share it, please share it. If you like what we do, let us know. We definitely have a great time doing this. This is our date night.
Mhm.
Maybe we can get a wine sponsor and then turn. We just said all of this shit about not liking wine. So maybe we need a Ripple sponsor or a Mad Dog 2020.
Oh my gosh, you're trying to.
Thunderbird.
No, what is it that we used to drink when we were younger? When we were
Engine.
Well, that. But the
Christian
beer.
Brothers.
No, that terrible beer. That
311. Oh, I used to drink 311. MGDs.
Yes. Like I know what it's called, but I was just having them like scrounging up.
Change out of the ashtrays. All right, let's get out of here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate you all. That's the youngest guy right there. He wanted to jump on. Yeah, I don't know how to end these things. So if you like it, like it.
And if there's any topics that you want to know about marriage or just in general, marriage, other parenting, we didn't even talk about co-parenting. We hadn't even really we didn't even touch upon that. Parenting within the same household is challenging, let alone incorporating the other people that you willingly chose not to be with, incorporating them. Yeah. Good night, Ivory.
So good night, everybody. We appreciate it. You guys have a good night, and let's keep this thing rolling. We're gonna start a Facebook group so that we can kind of connect and everything and see what's up. Good night, everybody.